now is Joel Jamal, the head of Turning Point Australia. Joel, thanks so much for coming on.
Not at all. Not at all.
What was your reaction when you saw the assassination? What was that like for you?
It probably took me a whole day, like a whole day. And I was just a mess, an absolute mess. I woke up first thing in the morning, 7 a.m, Charlie's been shot, Charlie's dead. And Charlie gave both me and Turning Point UK so much. And he inspired me 5 years ago to start my show, The Arc, before I had the Turning Point Australia brand. And the impact he had on my life, I'm so regretful I never got to really tell him exactly what he meant to me. And this is why I'm going to the US. I'm going to the funeral. I'm going to do what I can to share what a lot of Aussies are feeling. He was a really good guy, and he inspired tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people around the world.
And that's a story that we keep hearing come up again and again. And I've been just blown away by the amount of people I've seen, even on TikTok, talking about how Charlie Kirk changed their lives and now saying, I'm done being scared. I'm done hiding my beliefs. What do you think Charlie Kirk's legacy will be?
Well, I think in a big way, this has solidified his legacy as someone that was he loved the battle of the ideas. It was all about winning on the facts, winning on the arguments. And even the opponents that he faced that disagreed with him are in tears right now. They miss him. And I think that legacy of breathing your values into politics, which is exactly what Western nations need right now, is exactly what people are going to take from this.
Well, you talk about actually engaging in the battle of ideas. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people on the left, more than I expected, celebrating his murder. And that is not how you react to someone. You engage in the battle of ideas, but fundamentally you have a respect for your opponent, even if you disagree with them. I have been flabbergasted by the level of evil and vitriol we've seen directed towards Charlie even hours after he was assassinated. What do you make of that reaction? Why are they so full of hate?
Freya, the idea that our debating opponents in the SBS debate, Hannah Ferguson, Abby Chatfield.
For context, Joel and I did a debate on the SBS before the last federal election where we went up against Hannah Ferguson and Abby Chatfield. So we're very used to dealing with these people.
The idea that we could have a civil debate and then a few months later, they're essentially, I don't want to say cheering on Charlie's death, but they're not sad. They're not sad. And the other thing is our other debating opponent, Punters Politics, Conrad, not a single post. At least Friendly Geordies, whatever you disagree with him on, at least he had the decency, maybe it's because he had an attack on his house, but at least he had the decency to say, what is wrong, America? Why is violence a part of your political discourse? This is not something we want to see in Australia. We're all shocked by it. And it's really strange for, only you would really understand, they were our debating opponents in that SBS debate. It's actually quite shocking if you think about it.
And then the idea that if they would support the killing of Charlie Kirk, or at least not outright condemn it, if it were one of us that were in that situation, what would their response be? And once you get to that point, how can you sustain a democracy? How can you sustain Western civilization, which was built off the fact, I talked about this in my editorial, that we don't need violence to express our views. Now, Zali Steggall, the Teal MP, liked Hannah Ferguson's post where she said violence is sometimes justified. To see a mainstream Australian politician endorsing those views, are you despairing at where we are as a country?
Look, I think there's a lot of people that are showing us who they truly are. And I think it was Charlie who said, you can tell a lot from a person by how they react when someone dies. And I think, look, Zali, it was just a like on a post. It's in a different, it's stratospheric when it comes to Abby Chatfield talking about why hasn't anyone done it yet, alluding to going after Trump. Like, it does make you despair a little bit, being people that enjoy the battle of the ideas, but at the same time, this should be a wake-up call for people. If you don't engage in democracy, you cede the ground to these psychos that are out there, that are in our parliaments. So please engage in democracy, join a political party, join a church. And we've got to get back to the values that made Australia great in the first place.
Exactly. Well, where is Turning Point USA headed next? We saw defiant Erica Kirk make an address to the Globe 48 hours after her husband was murdered. Now, I personally think we could see Erica running for president, and I would totally support that. Finally, we will get a Kirk presidency. But where do you think the movement is headed now?
Look, too soon to say about Erica. I think that, and I mean, I think everyone feels this, including yourself. Like, we are so sorry for her losing a beautiful husband and the lovely children they have. I mean, what do you tell the children? I think moving ahead, Turning Point USA has solidified exactly what it's going to be doing. It is an organisation that is dedicated to helping people understand how the democracy works, breathe their values into politics. They're conservative, they're Christian, and they're about making our countries go back to our roots. And that's what I do. That's what the Turning Point UK guys do as well. And that's what's needed. And so I think that they're just getting started. Charlie's Instagram numbers just went from 1.7 million to 11.7 million people in the last 3 days. Our Facebook page has doubled from 100,000 to 200,000 in 2 days. There's very clearly something going on, and Charlie Kirk's death clearly was a turning point for the world.
Yeah, well, I think we saw the true face of evil that lies just below the surface of so many people, and now hopefully the revival begins. Joel Jamal, thank you so much.
Not at all. Thanks for your time.